Does that make sense?
That does, and that's given me a lot of ease, actually, alhamdulillah, because that was a concern of mine. I think that's beautifully addressed. And mashallah, I've benefited a lot from what you said. Jazakumullah khair.
It's you, it's not me, but yeah.
But I wanted to ask you about helping me craft a few activities for argument from contingency and kalam cosmological argument. So two things that I'll just I guess mention.
Yeah.
In terms of what I have in mind for argument from contingency, what I was thinking is, so okay, let me go to lesson 3 first, which is the next lesson. So argument from contingency. Now, before the argument from contingency, we're going to do a Kahoot that will revise much of the content that they've done last week in terms of the attributes of God. I also wanted to do an activity in relation to, I'm not sure if Kahoot would be sufficient. I was thinking of introducing, maybe one table could be the table that represents an atheist argument for the non-existence of God, and one table could be an agnostic table, another table could be a Christian table, another table could be, I'm not sure if that's a good way of kind of doing it. I'm a little bit iffy on that. That's one activity that was in my mind. The other one was just simply saying, okay, everybody sits on round tables, alhamdulillah, so like it gives them the ability to talk to each other. It's like everyone, the question is, what's the evidence for God's existence or non-existence? Off you go, and let them kind of think about it as an opener to the class, apart from in addition to the Kahoot quiz, and then moving into teaching the argument from contingency. What are your thoughts?
So you've got a few things there. The review is very, very good. It's fairly essential. Just make sure it's quite short, like a snap fire review. So you can take a snapshot of who's got it and who's not, and you can address that. If you can make the Kahoot quiz about that conceptual rather than the details, do they get that top line message? Because then you can move on if they've all got it. If not, and that's the good thing about Kahoots, because you get live diagnostics. It's there straight away. You get the percentage, who got it right, who didn't get it right. You can do a quick reteach. And then I think so what you could do is, in groups, like you're saying, what's the argument for God and what's the argument against God? A brainstorm. You could let them know this isn't a qualitative exercise, this is a quantitative exercise. Who can get the most arguments in there? Because there's many and many. So it kind of gets them thinking in that way. It's kind of fun. If you make it a competition, you could do 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. Who can win? It really gets them working. It gets the class stimulated. Presumably, is it in the evening, your class, or the afternoon?
Right.
In the evening. So, they finish the daily duties. It should be like what do we call it? Like a pedagogical coffee shot, a brainstorm, because they're talking and they get going. It gets the class fired up. So that's really good. And it's simple. There's no right or wrong. It's just quantitative. And then I like this idea that you had of tables. Could you flesh it out for me, Notes? It seems like they'll be making separate arguments, maybe to come